Ella and the Beast is book one.
Yes.
What can you tell us about book one? What makes it unique?
Well, not only the fact that, it's the shifters ruling the world in a modern day time period, and the humans have spent, centuries hiding in small clans trying to be the Bigfoot, if you will. They're the Bigfoot of the shifter world. And I think it's that thread of discovery. It adds a freshness, that romance that's, you know, in a way it's friends to enemies, um, or enemies to friends, or however you want to put it, because, there's that level of distrust that, especially the humans have, because their stories that they've passed down have been locked in from what happened during the Great War when the shifters finally annihilated the humans, basically. And so, there's that level of distrust that has to be overcome, and that new discovery and that slow building of the relationships, and there's threads of mystery and suspense running throughout the entire series as well. So it's not just a paranormal romance shifter book, it's also, action, adventure, suspense, thriller mixed all in with that. And you have just
And
the characters are just so dynamic.
I imagine there's also some cultural conflict in there too, because you've got potentially in a more advanced world and one who, whilst maybe not quite back at the, men and women living in cave stage, but it's still, say, rural and remote as opposed to more city. Would you describe it that way, or how would you describe it?
There's definitely a cultural, and there's also a level of resentment, because you have to understand that, like with the humans who have been living in these very difficult remote regions, they haven't had access to all of the comforts of home. They haven't had, a steady supply of food except for what they've been able to gather. So, when they see not only the modern world, there's that shock value of all of, the modern necessities that we take for granted are suddenly new to them. But there's also a certain level of resentment that they have been pushed back, that they had been held back, that they, have suffered while the shifters have just gone about la 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 living their daily life. And there's a lot of cultures even today that can feel that way. They were just talking, I think it was in the Amazon, that an unknown tribe had come out to the river. And so this is, again, this is people who've lived a very isolated, remote life, and they're being seen now. Are they getting pulled into a modern world? No, not yet, but they are being touched by it. But just because you're living like that doesn't mean that you can't have been happy and that you couldn't have lived a fulfilling life. So even though there might be at times some of those resentments and some of those, it's not about, the wealth and this discrepancy there, but it's about, um, needing certain basic necessities for survival, and at times not having it. And so all of this comes into play, which is part of that emotional baggage that adds to the drama and the culture divide that they have to overcome in their
Yeah.
relationship.
I think I'd be most upset about the lack of modern plumbing. Or that would be the thing I'd be most excited to have discovered.
Yeah.
So Ella and the Beast, I recognize it from my stay in Washington State. Is that like it? I know it's set there in the book, but have you actually been there? Have you? Is it from places you've been and seen?
Most of my books, there are a lot of places that even my outer worlds are places that I've been to here on Earth that look very alienish. And for me, yes, I have been to Washington State many times. My dad's family is actually from that area. My dad was raised in Bremerton. And so it was neat being able to go there and, you know, hike in some of the woods up there. And, you know, we went up, my dad climbed most of the mountains there, Mount Rainier, Mountain Hood. And so when I've been up there, we've gone through all of those areas and done some hiking and, you know, traveling around. So I love bringing places that actually exist into the stories because it makes it feel even more real.